to use the placement record in Tracker RMS. The placement record on a job is located on the shortlist. To get to that placement record, you'll hover over the card for that particular candidate and click on the sprocket. This will then give you the placement record for this candidate on this job. At the top of the screen in the right-hand corner, you have an action button that you can click in order to reach out to the candidate. Here you can send an email, send a text, or send a form. You can also reach out on the phone, and you'll see all the phone numbers that we have listed for that candidate. If you'd like to create or open an agency resume, you'll use these two buttons. Then you can also action a candidate on this job from this record here. Clicking on Action Candidate, you can send a candidate resume either internally or to the client. If you've sent it already using your own email program, but you'd like to get credit as a user for it, you'll click on Mark as Resume Sent. And then if you'd like to set up an interview for this candidate on this job, you can click on Arrange an Interview, and here you can get it set up inside Tracker so you as a user will get credit for an interview. And then you can also send out the template so that the candidate receives an email with all the interview details. If you've already reached out to this candidate and you'd like to log an activity, click on Log an Activity. Here, you can choose one of the activities that you'd like to log, fill out the details, and it will associate with this candidate on this job itself. If for some reason you'd like to remove the candidate from the shortlist, you have this button here. And then you have Update Job Dates and Values. What this will do is once you've updated the Financials tab on the placement record with their particular either salary or start date, end date, as well as pay rate, charge rate, you can click this button to update the job dates and values on the job itself using the information from this placement record. You can use the Create an Extension if you need to create an extension for this candidate, or Apply AWR or Create an Order are those two buttons below here. The placement details itself are about this candidate on this job. So you'll see here the status where Aaron Choplin is at. If you need to add any status notes, you can add them in here. The contact point is going to be the contact on the job. This is to give you information on who is the job contact, even though it is located on the job profile. You can also choose a type. So how did this candidate make it to the shortlist here? Was it because they registered themselves online, or maybe that you used the Outlook add-in to add them in? You can also type up any notes if you need on this job for this candidate. If you have any custom fields, they will be listed below this as well. And please do keep in mind, since Tracker is customizable, your fields might be in slightly different sections and they might be laid out just a bit differently. The second tab down on the left-hand side here is going to be Financials, and this area is going to be super important to update when Aaron is finally hired onto the job. So here, you can put their start date. You can then come down and put their end date on the job. And then depending on what days they work of the week, you can check off these buttons if you need. You can also enter in the start time and end time and how many units are in their day. Next one down is going to be their placement rates. So the pay rate for this candidate can be added in. You can also add in their charge rate, overtime pay rate, and overtime charge rate. You can then choose margins, taxes, and burdens to add to this placement by clicking on the drop-down menu below and choosing from one of the options listed. Please do keep in mind, since Tracker is customizable, your choices might be slightly different. The system will take in consideration that percentage. It will then also take into consideration your start date and end date, and then it will give you a good placement value for this candidate on this particular job. If you'd like to view any activities of this candidate on this job, you can click on Activities to see them here. If you're going to be using timesheets, you can click on the Timesheets button. And last but not least, we have our online portal section here where you can share this candidate's information so another client can take a look at it and also give them a rating.